Welcome to the Midnight Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Easton Bennett, alongside my fellow co-host, Tyler Sinden. We are both entrepreneurs who are learning, growing, and building our own businesses, and our goal is to share our experiences and knowledge to help you grow and become a successful entrepreneur. Strap in. Tyler, it's officially, it's 2023 when people are listening to this. It is 2022 when we're filming it. So should we just guess on how our New Year's went?
Sure.
I think mine went pretty good.
Did it?
Yeah.
Well, what'd you do?
Had people over.
Oh yeah, another party.
Yeah. A kegger.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a good time.
How many kegs?
Just one.
Okay.
Like 165 beers, I think.
You having a lot of people, or what are you just having a little shindig?
Just two. We're gonna down them all.
Just two people?
Yeah. Can you imagine you got a keg for two people? Just crushed 165 beers.
It's a lot.
Yeah, probably more than recommended by most doctors.
I would assume so.
Yeah. How was your New Year's Eve?
Fairly average. I think I might go out this time, but I don't know, to be honest. We'll see.
Tyler out in the wild. That's what we like to see. Better send me a selfie if you actually do, since this is before, but after, but before.
Yeah, I don't know. I told him I could go, but we'll see.
See how you're feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. New Year's just isn't much to me. It's just another day, and people glorify it and give them another reason to, party and drink. And to me, I'd rather just get in bed, get a good night's sleep, wake up the next day fully recharged, and, start 2023 with a good momentum,
Yep, a nice little runway. Wake up, watch the Vikings beat the Packers. It's gonna be a good weekend. What's been going on? What's been going on with you? Anything new you'd like to update everybody?
Not
and
much.
Myself
We just went through Christmas. I'm already a lot of this stuff that we're gonna probably be diving into. I'm already trying to start to get a good, that self-esteem or momentum building up, and not wait till the new year comes. So I'm trying to get a head start, and I'm trying to be a little bit better, because a lot of this stuff I was doing really good at, and then I sort of fell off the train. One of the things I'm talking about is reading. I got, I think, around 10 books on my shelf that I need to read. I'm like, that's been there for so long, and I have not progressed much there. And so I've been reading a little bit more, filmed a YouTube video that I've been pushing off for a long time, and been talking with Riley that, planning a couple videos actually that we want to get filmed for Nuevo.
That's pretty exciting. I know last time we talked, you talked about creating content for Eddie. How's that going? Good?
Yeah, it's going good. I originally just wanted to make the reels. You've seen people where they put the tweet over top of, like, on a reel. Yep. I just was originally wanting to do that, and he's been sending me a bunch of content that he likes, and it's not hard to do. It's just taking the video, downloading it, and putting his video in front, copying the verbiage, and then making it his own in a sense. So I think I've made already close to 30 videos for him, 30 reels. So It's going pretty good. Yeah.
Is he enjoying it?
Yeah, he's loving it. I think I always check his profile, because I'm basically on his journey now with him, because what I make for him, I want it to do good. Yeah. And I think the lowest impression one that we've had so far is 2,000. And I think that's pretty good so far for being the lowest that we've made. So the time investment's there. He also said that someone reached out to him and asked who's been making the videos, and that was honestly the goal, is just tapping into his audience. So he said someone reached out to him. I haven't heard anything, but I didn't expect that to happen that soon anyways. So I'm just going to continue doing it.
There you go. Editor job coming soon for Tyler. Someone's going to be like, dude, let me make them clips. Start making 30 clips for yourself, damn it.
It's tough, because they're really simple. So it's like one video. So it's a reel. It's like your original video attached with, say, Ronnie Coleman being like, yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's something really simple like that, where with mine, I like a little more storytelling slash vlogging, where it's like motivational video and then it's a lot of B-roll of just like my day. And I did make one of those for him actually. He gave me a whole sequence of him working out, so I was able to turn that into one of the videos that I like. But at the same time, I find it, so what I'm realizing doing this, it's like it's so much easier to do it for someone else, because I don't know. I just find having to film myself, it takes a lot of time and effort. I did actually just film a couple B-roll clips before we hopped on the call here to get of me pretending to be on a podcast. So I did that. I'm gonna do a couple more after with wide angle. So I am trying to do more, and I think coming into the new year, I'm gonna try my best to do that.
There we go. I'm predicting, and obviously this is before I get in kind of what's up with me, which isn't a ton, so it shouldn't take too long, but give you guys a sneak peek into this week's episode. We are going to be talking about 2023, kind of what we're shooting for, what we want to be better at, and how we're going to get there. We're going to work through that. Of course, we're going to have the business idea at the end, which, you know, it's my turn this week, so we'll see how that goes. But as far as brief talks go on my end, nothing crazy. I finished that short film for that girl last week, shot that. So she is currently editing it. She texted me literally 2 minutes before we started recording this and said, asked if I could send over that LUT that I used on the monitor. So it looked all generally the same. So sounds like she is diving into that edit. So I'm excited to see that. I have a lot of behind the scenes content, and then I'm going to post some stills and everything from that, but I'll make sure to update us next week on that film, just to see. She has to have it done before January 1st, I think. So should have it done soon, and then I can update, let you know how it went. I thought the shots looked pretty good. As far as other things that are up, filmed a couple podcasts today, 4 of them. So kind of getting ahead of the curve here, going into 2023. Then other than that, not a ton. Just wrapped up a couple projects that were outstanding in 2022. And just finished those up, got those edits sent over, and then just kind of getting ready for 2023, getting the plans set. One thing you said was books. You said you have about 10 books on the shelf. I know my 2022 goal was to read 18 books. I think I probably read 6 or 7, and they were all in the first like 3 months. And then I didn't pick up a book for the rest of the year. So that's one of my goals, not officially on the list that we're going to talk about, but I want to read more going into 2023. And hopefully keep it going throughout the year instead of just crush them in 3 months and then just peter out. I think I hit summertime, and then it was just like, ugh. Go outside. Yeah. For me, it's I got all these books. I bought them all, and I want to dive back into a few that I've read in the past and start taking action on the books, because I find that's one thing that I've lacked on is action from actually reading the books. So that's one thing that I do want to get into. Yeah, and that's actually a teaser into what our business idea is going to be later. It revolves around that exact topic. So we'll save that for the end. We'll save that for end. I think you're going to like it. It's going to take it's a very broad idea. So we're going to have to work through this one a little bit, see what we can find to make this the best. But I'm a little bit excited about it. I thought about it yesterday when I was driving, and I was like, this would be nice. So other than that, I don't think I got anything else to update on. Couple meetings coming up here in early January. With a couple of clients, and then obviously the retainer client that we're starting in February. We have to start planning the content for that, and then the Bismarck gentleman, we're going to meet in the middle of January and talk about that, but nothing really to update on that end.
Cool. Right on. So I think we're ready to jump in then.
Yep, let's get right into it. Maybe we can kind of go back and forth. I put the ones you typed there under yours, and then I kind of made my own list under it. So maybe we'll go back and forth. We'll hit one of your goals, talk about it, hit one of mine, and go from there. So you want to take it off? You want to rock, paper, scissors? Rochambeau?
You can go.
Rochambeau. Okay, well, my first one, a little bit out there. I don't know if you're looking at it currently, but $500,000 in revenue. That is... Last year the goal was 250 and I missed it. So let's just up it up, get it up there, and then hopefully, because the premise behind this, and I think we talked about this a week or two ago, is the 10x rule. Have you heard of that? Mm-hmm. So if you want to buy a house this year, try to buy 10 houses. So that's kind of what I'm going for. It obviously
so what you're saying is your goal is $50,000. You want to 10x that?
Yeah. If I could get 50K this year, I'd be happy. But no, I didn't 10x this one, but I kind of put it at a threshold higher than, like, I hope I can make 500,000, but it's a hard task. I think I need to, it's definitely achievable. I mean, 500K, it's doable, but it's going to take a lot of work. So even if I land somewhere and I hit that 250, or if I hit the 200 or 300, whatever it might be, I'll be happy with it. But really, I want to shoot for 500, see if I can really get there.
So year over year, I know last year you mentioned 250K was your goal. You didn't get there. What was the comparison year over year from this year to 2021? Did you increase? Did you decrease? Did you stay the same? What happened?
I went up mildly. So I think it was up by maybe 5,000-10,000, somewhere in there. So it wasn't a ton. I think this year I broke the 100,000 barrier, I think. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's like barely right above it. And then last year I think was around 92, 3, 4, somewhere in that window. So that's obviously revenue. There's expenses in that, but I want to shoot for as high as I can. I think I have some things lined up for 2023. And that's part of the reason I put it so high, is because I think I already have a little bit of a layup for some income. But I want to try to expand my thinking into making that kind of money. Because if you're looking at making $150,000, the thinking is way different than if you're like, how do I get to 500? Because 500's a little bit of an absurd number. So one way I want to do that, I want to try to see where I can get the podcasts, whether it's just the business one right now, that's the only one that's making money, but all three of them, if they can eventually make money somehow. I don't know, if this podcast we're doing started making money, I don't know how we'd count that as revenue, but
2024 is the goal.
Exactly. Make money by 2024. So we got a whole year to do that. But the business podcast, if I can, and that's one on my list too, is start getting some more sponsors for that. I think I can turn that into a passive income because I'm filming the podcast already. So that's the goal for that. And then 3 dudes, we'll see where that goes. Not too worried about that. And then, have to figure out some other forms of revenue.
Yeah, I feel like that's what you need to do, is come up with different types of ways that you can generate revenue with your business, because you're really one-dimensional. Yeah. And I think it would be more so horizontally integrated, where you're adding, say, courses. I always say, get some courses, and then you're like, gotta ride the horse before the cart, or whatever the fuck you say. And
My
it's
favorite saying.
Bro, yeah, you just got to do it, because I think that's going to motivate you to learn and be better at video making, and it just offers a new income stream for you.
Yeah, I just don't. The course is on my list. Trust me, it's on my list of things I want to do. It's just when to do it, because right now, and I'd have to
sacrifice.
Right? I'd have to sit down right now and figure out, okay, how am I going to market it? If I do it right now, I know the course would be good and it would be well produced, obviously, because I know how to produce everything. But how am I going to sell it to people? That's the marketing side of things. Who's going to buy it? Is my YouTube audience going to buy it? Do I go into colleges and high schools and maybe say, hey, sell it there? That's an avenue. You know what I mean?
Fuck going to college, buy my course.
Yeah. Or it's something
this is a lot cheaper.
Where every student gets, if they want extras, it's like, hey, you get 50% off if I have a partnership with this, whatever it might be. So those are some different avenues. And that's something I actually just thought about right now. It wouldn't be a horrible idea if I said, hey, whatever, Minot High School, everyone in your class, if they want to purchase it, gets 50% off if they use MHS, the code MHS, whatever it is. And then you do that with every high school in the country.
Yeah. I think you have different avenues, or what's it called? Different
streams,
categories
okay, yeah.
Within the course. So one you'll have on filmmaking, documentary, podcasting, like how to set everything up. And then I know I don't see it on here, but you said you wanted to get into weddings. Maybe you have some on weddings, and then you can have some on business, and then you can have some on mindset, because I know business, there's a big aspect of your mindset, and you got to have, a good mindset of like what you're going to do with it. So I think there's a lot of different categories that you could have within it, and maybe those are all separate as well. So you could have the full thing, and then you could have maybe just filmmaking, documentary, podcasting, etc.
So that's on the list. I'll have to figure out those ways that I can do it. The only thing that I really think about is like, that course already exists. Like I took the course myself, full-time filmmaker. So I need to figure out how am I going to make this different instead of instead of making people pay me, how do I make that beneficial for them instead of just saying, okay, well, go buy this. This is what I did. So how can I take my experience from that and flip it, which I'll have to sit down and jot down on the old pen and paper.
I'm assuming there was other courses out there when Full-Time Filmmaker made theirs.
You're damn right. That's what I need to hear. That's what I need to hear, Tyler.
Don't be coming up with those excuses.
Yeah. Well, I gotta have some way out, you know?
No
all right.
way out.
All right. So that's mine. $500,000. Yeah. $500,000 a year. I also thought about a clip agency as another way I could do it. So I keep getting all these people DMing me saying, we'll make clips for your podcast. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why don't I just do that? And then whatever they're charging, just charge less. Cause I know what it takes and what these people are charging is stupid. There's people I had a guy today send me his prices for a clip on the things we're doing for this podcast, right? Just captions and a thumbnail.
Yeah.
$30 a clip.
Oh, wow. I had no idea what I would charge for that, but I was thinking a lot more than that.
More?
And that's a lot. You're saying that's a lot.
Per clip. Oh, I can rip out those clips. That's like literally just cutting them and delivering them. That's not uploading them and scheduling them and all that.
Yeah, but wouldn't you have to sift through everything and come up with the clip, find what you want? Or is it you're sending it to him, make this into a short form piece of content? Because if you got to sift through it, that's going to take hours.
Yeah, I don't know. But my sifting process is quick, I think. When I do it, let's say it's an hour-long podcast, okay? I would bring the hour-long podcast into editing software. I'd put it in 2x speed, and I would watch it in 2x speed. And if I like a clip, I just mark it, hit the M key, and it puts a little marker there. So that takes 40 minutes to watch, let's say, 10-minute buffer time. And then it takes, 10, 15 minutes, not even, 10 minutes to go and cut out all those clips you marked. And then you just have to resize, format them, whatever, which maybe takes 45 minutes. And then you clip them, which in CapCut which I use, is just super quick. So let's just say it's 3-4 hours max. 4 hours, let's say you're charging $50 an hour, $200. I get $200 once a week. That's yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That $30 does not seem like much because for me, I would say it takes me 3.5 hours max. I get 7 clips out of that. 30 times 7, that's $210 for 3.5 hours of work. 3.5 hours work. $30 is not that expensive.
But if you think about it like this, I'm thinking about it from the business side where I have to pay for it. I do 10 clips. If I do 3 dudes, we do around 10-ish clips a week. And then some of them are double posted on certain days. That's $300 a week. Okay, well now you're paying $1,200 a month for this service. You know what I mean? Whereas I know that I can personally do it myself, and it's worth less than $1,200.
Yeah.
So that's how I view it.
One thing going off that I've been thinking about this recently is trying out not doing quantity, because one of the clips that I just posted was quality over quantity, and I'm thinking maybe let's try 2, 1 to 3, maybe 4 clips, depending on the quality of clips that we're able to produce within the podcast.
Yeah.
And try and maybe add a little bit more flair to it, and then make the quality of that one clip better than the 7, and then maybe that'll do better. That's one thing that I've been thinking about recently with this podcast, because not much is taking off. So maybe trying to switch something up, because we've been going, what is this, episode 18? We've been going for 18 weeks, and I know it's going to take time, obviously, but I think maybe quality over quantity is maybe something to test out for a few weeks. I think I might try that.
4.5 months. Think about that. Who would have ever thought?
Look at us.
It just flies by. Even the business podcast we just filmed today was episode 30. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. I feel like you're approaching a year there. Yeah, you're approaching a year.
It's getting after it. So that, for the other last thing for the $500,000, is a yearly budget for clients. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I learned that from the gentleman I was talking to. Instead of doing retainers, say, hey, what's X amount of dollars do you want to spend this year? Okay, what can we do with that dollar? You want to spend $10,000 for the whole year? Let's figure out what we can spend. So then we can start to figure out, okay, at the beginning of the year, we have $120,000. We know what we're shooting, and then the one-off clients will come. So that's my current plan. Next week, I'm not going to shoot anything next week. I'm just really going to figure out the yearly goals. And I should do that this week, but this week is 3 or 4 days of filming, and just don't have time to sit at my computer for 40 hours. So that's next week's plan.
It's funny that you included clip agency, because that's honestly one thing that I feel like I might be trying to pursue a little bit here in 2023 as well. Because that's one thing that I started with Eddie. That's one of the main reasons why I did start with him.
There we go. And that's the thing. I'll do it for I'll start doing, okay, you pay me whatever it is, $30 a clip, hire someone else, pay them $20 a clip or $20 an hour, whatever. Because one of my goals on here is to hire a full-time employee by the end of the year. Just pay them and say, okay, do this. And then I'm already getting whatever it might be for the podcast. But imagine you have, because how many podcasts could you get done in one day? If you had 5 podcasts you were servicing with clips, I think you could do 5 in a day.
Yeah, it would be like a 12-ish hour day probably, depending on how many clips per pod or whatever, and how long they are. Because these are around 50 minutes episodes. And that takes me about three and a half hours. So I think, it would be a long day. So what is that? You said 5? 5 times 200, $1,000 day ain't bad.
No, it's not bad at all. And then
for sure.
Pay someone $500 a day. Boom, free money.
Yeah.
All right, we've been talking about this goal for too long. What's your one you want to talk about? Let you stab one out of that list.
I just thought of this. I didn't put it on there. I did think about this a little bit earlier, but for trying out ChatGPT or trying out any AI and seeing how that works, just let it write for us and seeing if that works. That's one thing that I do want to try out potentially. I do want to stay organic and like authentic to us writing it, but I think it would be really interesting to see if we could put something into ChatGPT. Even maybe podcast ideas, YouTube ideas, whatever it is. I think I'd like to pursue, understand, and learn AI a little bit more in 2023, because now that it's free, like we got,
I tried to sign up for ChatGPT and it said it was full, so I couldn't even get on. Yeah, so I was like, it said it's not open to any more users, and then you could sign up for like them letting you know when it's open again. And I was like, God damn, because I wanted to just go mess around with it.
Wow. It's probably collecting so much data. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm conflicted with it at the same time, because it's like ChatGPT, like it's going to take away so many jobs.
Yeah.
So it's like, should I support it and give it data and use it? Or should I try to avoid it and not let AI take over? So I'm a little conflicted on it, but I think
once it starts,
I think it would be good to test.
Once it starts video editing, that's when I'll stop supporting it.
I saw something where it was people were playing tennis, and you typed into, I don't think it was ChatGPT, it was some AI. People were playing tennis. It was like change the background to a sandy beach. It changed everything to a sandy beach, and it looked exactly like they were playing on a sandy beach. And then it was like change it to the moon, and it looked exactly like the moon. And
Deadly.
Like that's all you did. You just like typed it in, changed the background to this, and it's like it does it automatically.
World's gonna get weird, man. The world's gonna get weird.
Yeah, it's like no more After Effects going in, keep frame by frame masking someone out. It's like AI, do this for me.
Just change it. Come on, man. I don't got time for this.
Exactly. So I'm a little conflicted on if I want to support it, but at the same time, I'd like to test it out to see exactly the benefits, how we can use it, and just the benefit. Like, I'm so conflicted on it.
No, you gotta give it a shot. It might be life changing for your business, so it's better just try it.
It's tough because people are probably going to be using it, and the people that use it might get ahead, and that's the issue.
Yeah, well, be one of those people.
It's kind of cheating.
Be one of those.
It's kind of cheating. Yeah.
All right, so y'all, what else you got on? You got consistency. What do you want to be more consistent with?
Life, man. Just everything. I found recently I've fell off a little bit, but I've been fairly consistent. I feel like I hold myself to a high standard, And it's tough because I listen to such high performing individuals, and then I make myself feel like I'm not like enough, or I don't do enough. Like I was reading pretty much every day, working out every day. I stick to a fairly good diet, and I just feel like I want to do more. And like when I don't, like I'll do stuff, but it's like I got all this time that I'm not doing stuff. It's like I feel like I'm not doing enough and I could be doing more.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting off topic here, but I want to be like consistent with posting to Instagram, TikTok. I always say it, but fuck. And YouTube. I've been fairly decently consistent with YouTube,
YouTube?
but
That's a new
yeah.
platform, eh?
Yeah, it is. We should start it. Maybe that's a business idea.
There we go.
But
Yeah, save
I
for
want to
next
be.
week.
I want to be a little bit more consistent with those platforms, especially Instagram and TikTok. YouTube, I was more quality over quantity, and whenever I came up with an idea, I would do that. So yeah, I want to be a little more consistent there.
Yeah, that kind of makes me want to. I like having things planned where if I could almost sit down and just say, okay, minimum I'm posting 12 YouTube videos this year. Here's every single video that I'm posting for the first 12. Like they have to get posted. It's getting posted no matter what. And then maybe once a week. Like if I could schedule out the next 52 weeks and then on top of that, just add subsidiary content or whatever it might be, ancillary. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Go from there. But yeah, I mean, consistency is huge. That's one thing that I want to be in 2023 as well. But yeah, I think that's a good one to have on there.
Yeah, especially because I enjoy making those videos. Maybe not so much TikTok, because TikTok's a lot more organic. I'm finding it's like you're not noticing high quality, high produced videos as much. It's more so people just holding their phone up. Maybe it's just like not even a selfie. It's just going around and it's like recording something.
Yeah.
I'm noticing Instagram is a little bit more higher quality videos. I think it makes sense too at the same time, because they originally started out as a picture platform to share for photographers and shit. So I think that makes sense. But what I'm noticing with TikTok, it's a little more amateur, but people do high produced videos on TikTok as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing TikTok to be more community driven, like raw,
100%.
natural, whereas TikTok is like high quality short form content.
Yeah, I think authentic's a good word for TikTok. It's more real.
Yeah. So maybe that's one thing we should keep each other accountable with. We got to post on both of those.
We always
platforms.
do, man. It never works.
Yeah, let's just throw it out into the ether again. We'll talk about it next week. Hey, we should do this.
I'm currently working on a YouTube video, so
there you go. I'm going balls to the wall after next week. I'm just gonna plan out 52 weeks straight. It's gonna be 525 pieces of content. Like, all right, let's get after it. Well, I'm gonna edit this podcast tonight, so we'll see what we get to. Yeah.
no excuses.
Just because Sunday, my buddy might be coming from Canada this weekend, so I don't know how much time I'm gonna have this weekend, but yeah. Let's get into, I'll go into my next one. So I already briefly mentioned it, hire an employee. I think that's the goal, full-time employee. I don't know how much I'm going to eventually end up having to pay them. I have to figure out how, like if they're going to be remote or not. I also don't know if I want to do like salary. Like, I don't know if I want to be like, hey, you're getting X amount of dollars a month, or if it's hourly. So that's a goal. I don't know. A lot of these fall in the same thing. How I'm going to get there, it's just, you have to make more money so you can hire people. And then, so obviously raise my prices, start building that in a little bit, and then go from there. So hopefully that's by the 6-month mark. That's kind of what I'm giving myself, 6 months, because that'll have everything, all this transition period kind of locked down. So that's a goal for that one.
Yeah. You've been talking about this one for a long time, so I hope you're able to achieve it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's going to help you a lot, but at the same time, you got to spend your time wisely when you do hire that person, because it's going to free up a lot of your time, and you got to do more of that high end stuff.
Yeah, and that's where you got to put the cart before the horse, Tyler. So yeah, I mean, the only thing is like it's nerve wracking taking on someone else's livelihood. So see what we can do.
I think that'll motivate you a lot more, because now you're not only providing for yourself, you're providing for other people, and you got to make sure that you stay in business for that person. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's that goal. I don't really have anything more on that. Tyler, throw it over to you.
Yeah. Also with consistency in posting, I think a lot of it's going to be going into Nuevo as well. We want to make sure that we're staying consistent there because we met a couple times. We got consistent for like a month and then it died off again. So it's consistency, like with basically everything in life. That's what you honestly need. Like if you're able to consistently do something over a period of time, you're going to be able to have really good results. So doesn't matter what it's for, my personal, with Nuevo, with business, everything. I think just being consistent with it. And that goes into another one that we're going to be doing is Riley wants to talk to, or Riley's talked about coming up with a content plan and knowing exactly what we're going to be posting. So that's one thing that we're going to be doing. He mentioned it today that he wants to do that and have like a Q1 content plan. And maybe that'll include a couple blogs, social posts, and all that information. So that's one thing that we're going to be trying to do and implement is having a content plan, like knowing what we're going to do, like what you said, having like a whole year planned out, but it's going to be in quarters. So that's one thing that we're going to be going to.
No, I think that's good that you should be consistent in your business side and then the personal side too. I want to get to a more concrete schedule. Wake up at the same time, go to bed relatively the same time. I got to start editing the podcast earlier than like 9 p.m. because then you have to, it's done by 11, but then you have to sit and wait for it to process. Oh, it's horrible.
That's actually one thing that I did my YouTube video on today was my challenge that it wasn't really a month, but it was about a month and a half, 2 months. And I've still been doing it, but going to sleep at like ruining my perfect sleep routine. That's what the title of the video is. So not going to sleep at the scheduled time and waking up at the same time. So I'm in a similar boat as you. It's
okay.
One thing that I realized when I'm doing this is I'm living more of that entrepreneurial life where I'll go to sleep once I have everything done.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's what I used to. Well, I'm kind of doing that, I guess, but I don't know. I feel like it's more fun that way.
I think what you need to do is not go on your phone before bed because you're probably sitting in bed on TikTok, sending me TikToks at like 2 a.m. If you eliminate that half hour, however long it is, you're good.
Well, I agree. It's not an excuse coming up. I agree, but I do just sit there and wait for because Anchor, where we post these podcasts on, I don't know why it takes so damn long to process the videos, but you can't schedule it until the full thing is uploaded. So you have to wait for the 10 gigabyte podcast episode to upload. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, let's go. But whereas YouTube, you can just upload it, hit schedule, and then once it's processed, it posts. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's why one gripe about Anchor.
I think maybe it's being ahead a little bit and then doing it the next morning instead. Yep.
Well, then I'd have to wait if we post these at 6 a.m.
Well, I'm saying that's why you get ahead. You don't film, edit, cut, do whatever, and then try and post it the day of. You post it maybe 2 days before. Maybe like normal people, you're a week ahead or 2 weeks ahead, and you have everything planned out.
Yeah, it's not a horrible idea.
It's not a horrible idea at all.
I've heard worse for sure. All right, so you got networking on your list here. What do you want to do for networking?
Man, this is one thing that I've been thinking a lot about is I feel like I don't expand my network much and I don't get out much. And that's one thing that I really want to do is get out there, meet new people. I want to go to events, maybe like go and visit people. I want to go to Florida, meet with Eddie, film some shit with him. And then I want to go to Colorado and then probably head up to Minot. I think I've been wanting to do this roadie for a while, but the borders, man, they're just blocked. And so, yeah, networking, because you're the average of the 5 people that you're surrounded by the most. And I feel like, no offense to the people around me, I'm not improving much, Yeah. And like, I feel like at the same time, those 5 people around you can help you a lot and they can talk. And just one thing that I heard the other day is, if you're around 10 people that are chicken farmers, all they're going to be talking about is chicken farming. You're going to know all this stuff about chicken farming. Whereas if I'm around, say, 5 to 10 other people that only talk about business, making money, and how we're going to get to millions, that's going to help me out so much. And that's going to help me grow. And I'm not around that. I need to start surrounding myself with more people like that, where they're trying to push themselves to grow and make more money and be better.
Yeah, that's something I want to do too, but I want them to be, and we've talked about this before, I want them to be local to Minot. I wish there was people or local to North Dakota at least, so I can meet. Yeah, right. So I can at least like meet with these people in person. Like it's fine doing everything virtual, but then if you do something virtual, it's so easy to just be like, oh, I'm busy, blah 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 blah. So that's kind of, I like shooting the shit with people that like business. Like if you actually get to sit there, like if we're sitting on a couch just shooting the shit about whatever it is, that's kind of what I'm looking for. But yeah, I mean, make a trip up to Minot, man. I got a room for you.
I'm gonna try, man. I really want to. I've been wanting to for like the past year, but the borders they don't allow me.
I don't know, dude. I don't know why the border. When are they ever gonna open those suckers up?
So I heard January 8th they're supposed to announce something. It probably won't change it, but it doesn't make sense. So we'll see January 8th.
COVID's fake, bro. It's 2023. That was years ago, literally.
Yeah. It's funny when I still see people at the gym or like out and they still have masks on. I just think to myself they have COVID. I'm like, oh, why are you wearing a mask? You got COVID or something?
Yeah, that's the only
no
reason
offense
you'd
to
be
them or
wearing
anything, but you got to be an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, networking. I think that's a good one. I do like the 5 people because a lot of times, if you hang out with someone that's not doing everything or they're, out at the bar every single night. Cause I found myself in that trap here probably a year and a half ago. I was going to the bar probably like 4 times a week. Wasn't working at nights. I'd work from like 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and just call it a quits. And ever since I changed that, like obviously the podcast helped with that because I have to film those at night and then I have to get real work done during the day. So finding that balance is good. And I want to find people like that too. So
definitely. Especially like me at college, I was hanging out with a lot of people and my weekends consisted of going to parties and drinking. And
yeah,
I just didn't want to be associated with that anymore. And that's one of the reasons why I did quit drinking. But yeah, I didn't want to be a part of that. Changed my habits, changed my everyday thing. And, sometimes that means stop hanging out with some people, unfortunately.
Yeah. But, you got to make some sacrifices, like you said.
Exactly. Sacrifice.
All right, next one on my list. I want to start a series, which there's not really any strategic moves I need to do for this. I want to start a presented by series. I don't know what the name of it's going to be, but you know how Red Bull tells all these stories, and it has nothing to do with like they have these videos. It's like a 20-minute video on whatever it is, right? And it has nothing to do with their product, actual Red Bulls. It's just, okay, here's someone that lost their arm and then turned into the ultimate one-hand push-up master, whatever it might be. And it's just presented by Red Bull. So what I want to do is I want to start going around making these 15, 20-minute documentaries and just have them being presented by Bennett Creative Media. So it's just another way to get my name out there. It's creating content. It's starting to do the content because a saying I heard is create the work that you want to be paid for. So if I think if I start creating this work, this more storytelling aspect side of things, if I start creating it and putting out there, then eventually I can get people to pay me to do it. So maybe, I do 10 of them and then I reach out to 15 businesses and say, hey, here's the stories we have locked up. Do you want to be a sponsor for one of them? You want to sponsor this episode and say, hey, these 10 views, each one of them, they're getting 2,000 organic views, whatever it might be. If you want to sponsor it, okay, $1,000 you can sponsor it. So that's another route that I want to take. It's just the only thing I have to figure out is find good enough stories to tell. I don't know if that's local or if I have to go to a couple different cities here in North Dakota, fly somewhere.
You gotta leave.
Yeah.
Go to a real city.
Yeah. 2 years. I'll be out here in 2 years. Then I don't know what to do.
Why not? I lived there for 4 years.
Yeah. But no, that's the goal. So, I mean, I got to find some stories for that. The only thing is traveling, flying places is pretty difficult with all of your equipment. I have to take a roadie in the van.
Yes, sir.
Petito van. So that's one of my goals. But I want to start that in 2023. And that next week I can start hashing out the details for that. I'm going to start reaching out to some people. I have one idea. You know how Minot used to have the underground tunnels during the Al Capone days? I'm going to see if I can spin some sort of story with the bootlegging and the tunnels under downtown Minot. See if there's a story, and maybe that can be my first one. So that's what I'm looking at for there. That'll be hashed out next week when I do my 2023 planning.
Nice. That seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
And those are fun to do too. Even if no one does pay me, it's still fun to make them. So
yeah, for sure. And then at the same time, it gives you portfolio pieces.
Yeah. And it's like, damn, look at this story he told. Who paid him for this? Nobody. He did it on its own.
Maybe he'll make it on YouTube.
Honestly, yeah. Maybe it'll blow up and other places will be calling, be like, fly out to Utah and come do a documentary on Mormons. I don't know. A Mormon church. Cold outreach is your next one. I also have this on my list, but I'll let you talk about your ideas for it, and then I'll kind of talk about mine. I'm sure they're relatively the same.
Yeah, mine ties into the clip agency is reaching out to cold emailing people to try and, clip their podcast. I don't know if you sent me it or I saw a video once. The guy was on a podcast and he said someone reached out to him and said, "Hey, I'll clip your podcast and you don't got to pay me anything." And then basically, if anyone ever asks who clips your podcast, just say it's me. And the guy said he's making like $20K per month doing that. And it's like a couple kids, like 17-year-olds, like just doing this. So when I hear that, it's like they got to be charging more than $30 per clip. Yeah. But that's one thing that I do want to do is start reaching out to cold outreach, because I did a little bit with the realtors in my area and there's not a huge scale there. Like there's a good enough market there, but for the amount of people that I reached out to, I didn't really get any good I got one good opportunity. So I think with this, a lot of people are trying to get into podcasting and maybe people aren't as good at clipping. And I think this also ties into networking, because I've never really done this much, but DMing people. And I think that's another good way to network with people as well, to, get to know them a little bit. And I think at the same time, talking with these people, they're also trying to, be better and like achieve more in life. So I think it would be good to network with those people. Like if it doesn't lead to me clipping, maybe it leads to us partnering down the road. I think that would be a good opportunity there.
Yeah. And especially you mentioned DMing. I don't know, we've talked about this previously, but it got brought up in my mind last week. I was at church on Christmas Eve, the midnight mass or whatever. And I had this business idea and I took the pamphlet at church and I was writing down my business idea for it. And I started to realize it's a numbers game. And we talked about this with the cold emails, how I only sent like 10 to 15 of them, right? If you send 10,000 of them, something's going to come of it. So I started to think, and I was writing this down. In 2023, I'm going to start reaching out on literally every platform. Like if I see something I like, whether maybe it's some random business, maybe it's a shoestring business where they make cool shoestrings, reach out, build that relationship. I guarantee 95% of them will turn into nothing, but that 5% might make you an extra $100,000 a year. So that's what I'm going to start doing, reaching out on LinkedIn, especially LinkedIn, because I see a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. Reaching out on LinkedIn, Instagram especially, even, those are the main two. And then cold emails. I'm going to start strategizing. If it's a bigger business that I think I can land, I'll start researching their company a little bit, shoot an email and find those marketing people. So that's one thing I really want to do, is just start shooting. You don't even have to think about it a whole lot. If I'm laying in bed at 1 a.m., like you said, and I see a shoestring,
maybe that's what you do instead at like that 1 a.m., 2 a.m. time where you're laying in bed, you start DMing people. You get your template out and you start DMing.
Yep.
That's time well spent.
Oh yeah. I'm going to start doing it. So that's one thing I really want to do. And that's one thing I'm excited about, because that's like, I don't know why, but it's like a 0% thing. It's like you expect no one to answer. And then the one time someone does answer, it's like, let's go. This is unreal.
Yeah. So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I'm thinking of like, let's gamify this and let's have a competition who can send more cold emails or cold DMs.
You want to? I'll gamify it. Not till 2023 though. I can't do it this week.
Priorities.
Don't twist my arm here. I got stuff to do this week.
Priorities.
All right. What else you got? You got anything else on networking?
Last one's just accountability calls.
Cold outreach. Sorry.
Oh, cold outreach. Yeah, no, not really. I think one thing I do want to start getting into is Twitter. I know I talked about this with you the other day, but I feel like more people are starting to use Twitter, and I don't know if it'll lead to anything, but just chiming in here and there and seeing if anything does happen. I don't know if it would lead to anything, but
Twitter's a fun place to have conversations. That's really why I use it. I know a lot of different filmmakers on there that I can tweet at them, and generally they'll respond. So that's kind of why I like doing it. But I don't go on there a ton for content creation wise. But
yeah, I feel like you got to pick a niche. I feel like it's news reporters, and then a lot of people. I feel like a little bit it is about Facebook, how Facebook's all these people bitching and complaining. But maybe that's just my feed, and all I see is like Elon Musk stuff, and everyone's like bitching and complaining at him.
Yeah,
I don't get it why.
I don't know. Everyone loves neutral podcasts here, but everyone freaking hates on Elon. I'm like, whatever, man. All right, accountability calls. Actually, I'll do mine before we get into that. You got 2 left. I got 3. Well, 2.5. 3 podcasts sponsored by the end of the year. So this is nothing crazy, but I have 1 podcast locked in for the Mind Not Business podcast for 2023. I want to see if I can get that to 3 sponsorships. So if I get that to 3 sponsorships, it's about, $300 an episode, 4 episodes a month, $1,200 a month in passive income. And really
not necessarily passive.
Well, yeah. I mean, passive just because
passive at all.
Passive because I'm going to be doing it anyways. That's how I view it. So okay. I'm going to be filming these podcasts anyways. If I can just throw in an extra 30-second read, it's fairly passive. So, and it's nice because it's $1,200 in literally like one day. I guess there's like, you got to edit the clips and stuff, but I filmed 4 of them in one day and it's like, boom, there's $1,200. But as passive as I got right now, Tyler, passive as I got. And then by the time I have an editor, which will be by month 6, then it pretty much will be passive.
Yeah. We'll have an AI running your show. So you're not even there hosting it. So it's completely passive.
It's just me and I'm like a hologram. It's like, this is an Easton hologram. But yeah, so that's the goal. 3 sponsorships by the end of the year, which I think is attainable. I just got to figure out what companies it works best for. What companies works best in the B2B industry.
Do you think it would be better for yourself to hold off on the sponsorships until, say, year 3, 4, 5, once you've grown the podcast to thousands of followers and listeners, and then maybe do it, and then you're able to charge a little bit more for it, and then maybe now with your current people that listen to it, it might not deter them away from listening?
Yes, but I think there's 2 ways to look at it. So those bigger, when the podcast is bigger, you have more flexibility with the types of sponsors. So if I want to sponsor from Athletic Greens, I don't know if you've ever heard those before, but that or like Manscaped, whatever it is, that's like if you got thousands of listeners. Whereas this, if I was to do more sponsors, I'd want to pick them that I know would actually benefit the people listening. So Midco I know can benefit because like I use Midco myself. I like their internet service. If there's another thing that's like whatever it might be, and a lot of it's B2B. So the main people listening to it are like business owners and business professionals in Minot. So I have to figure out what services or what ad is actually going to maybe help this person. One thing I saw is Midwest Murder, which is a podcast around out of Minot. They have a sponsorship from Shots Crossroads. And when they read the thing, if you go into the gas station and bring up the podcast, they'll give you 7 cents off of every gallon of gas. So that helps. You know what I mean? Like if someone hears that, if I'm listening to the podcast and I go in there, I'm saving money just by having that ad read. So gas stations making money, podcasts making money, the person listening is saving money. So if there's some type of deal that I can work out on that end, that's kind of what I'm going for. But yeah, I don't want to sell my soul too early. I'll do that later.
I feel like you already did though, did you not?
For Midco?
Do you like ads on podcasts?
I guess I'm indifferent.
Okay.
They don't bother me.
Do you skip them? Do you avoid podcasts that have?
No, ads? I don't skip them. I think the only ones I'd ever skip are pre-rolls. So ones that are in the beginning, which I might click. Okay, 30 seconds. I know it starts 30 seconds in, but mid-roll ones, I just listen through to them. And I don't know. I like to see what people are trying to market me on. There have been times when I've heard an ad and then I go check it out. Like Athletic Greens, I hear that one all the time, and I went and looked at it. But then I saw some things that people are saying it tastes like shit, and I don't know. It was kind of expensive, so I was like, I'm good. Same with Viore.
Okay.
Viore is like a Lululemon competitor almost. So I went and I was
Okay.
like, oh, maybe I'll get some Viore clothes instead of Lulu. And I went and looked at it, and it looks nice, but it's super expensive. It's almost more expensive than Lulu. So that's something, if I decide to buy Lulu priced clothes at some point in the future, I can look at them. But yeah, I don't mind having ads. I like to know about companies out there.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
all right. You got one more, you said?
Yeah, it's just accountability calls with Eddie. We talked about it briefly on last episode. Eddie and I talked briefly about it, doing every Monday, quick 7 a.m. accountability calls, go over what we're planning for the week and what went well last week and what we're planning on doing this week. And one thing that I used to do back when I was in college, I used to do accountability calls with Riley, my current business partner. And I found that the next few days were the most productive that I would be throughout the week. So I'm really looking forward to the accountability call.
Yeah. And you'll have to keep me updated with that. I know that's something that you asked me to do, and I pretty much told you to go fuck yourself. So let me know how that goes. How has it been going so far? How many have you had? A couple of them? 1, 2?
No, we're starting in 2023.
Gotcha. All right. Well, yeah, we'll get an update for that next week, hopefully, and go from there. Last one I got is I want to try to have a client in every city in North Dakota, which I think is attainable. A client that's more not a one-off client, so someone that I can build a relationship with to start expanding the business. And then in turn, in the same sentence as that one, is a Vegas client, which we've talked about planning that one. And that's on the list of things that I'm going to plan out next week. So I already have the list of a few clients I want to reach out to. I just want to put together almost a content package plan to show them like, hey, here's what I want to do. But I just haven't done that yet. But I know who I'm going to be sending it to.
Right on. Motherfucker. I've been hearing like knocking, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like my mom coming in here.
Yeah.
But it's my sister's dog, and he's playing with his toy, and he's right behind me now, and he's like shaking his head.
Hey, that's all right.
Squeaking, so
little dog
hopefully
pod.
it's not too loud.
Little dog pod. All right. So that's kind of all we got for 2023 plans. Tyler, anything else you want to add?
No, I think we're about ready to jump into. Well, you got your Vegas client as well, but I think that ties into your cold DMs. But I think we're about ready to dive into the business idea that I'm a little excited about because I read it before and I didn't really know what it was, but now you touched on it briefly and I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I mean, the name of it is very up in the air. You can call it whatever you want. On the notes here for the people that obviously, well, no one can see the notes except me and Tyler, but it says 1 point conglomerate. And the 1 point part is 1 point. So we talked about this in a previous episode that, you know how you read a book and there's always 1 point that sticks with you?
Okay.
A lot of times it's like there's so much in a book, and I go back to Never Split the Difference, the negotiation book with Chris Voss. And the 1 point that stuck with me from that book is to set extreme anchors in negotiations. I learned a ton more from that book on, persuasive wording and all that kind of stuff, but it's hard to remember all of it without rereading it. So the 1 point was like set extreme anchors. So if there was some sort of service, or maybe it's an app, or maybe it's something I can download myself where you can collect. So every book you read, maybe you put the 1 point you learned from it in and you can actually start to take actions with it. That would be ideal. Or I thought on the flip side, if maybe there was a service that instead of reading a book, because maybe you don't have time to, or you don't want to read a whole book, but you're like, oh, I wonder what that book is about. And it kind of gives you a spark notes of here's the moral of the book without reading the whole book. And then if you like that, you can dive in and read the whole thing. But I personally like the first option where it's you almost get to log your own books and you get to, I don't know how it would work. And this is where we're going to have to work through it a little bit. But if we use Never Split the Difference, for example, if I say, okay, the 1 point extreme anchors, and then I leave notes on that, and then maybe you can put below that, it's like, okay, now what are the actions you're going to take to start using extreme anchors? So it's almost keeping you accountable to the information that you're getting in the books you're reading.
I like it. I've seen ads for it, but there's an app that's already out there that is extremely similar to that, where it basically just condenses books into like 15 minutes or something, just so it's, digestible and you can actually take action on it. So I think your one point, like the most important thing out of this book that you should take from it and then that you should actually take action upon, I think that's a decent idea to have. And I was just listening to a podcast with Andy Frisell, and he was talking about him reading as well. And that's one thing that he mentioned, where he'll read a book, he'll get one really good piece of information, but when he reads the book, he might get an additional 5 or 10 other pieces of information that also helps him out. So I don't know if like you're missing out on the other ones, but
Yeah.
I think it's good to have like that one piece of thing that you can actually learn from, take action on, and actually become better at or apply to your life, apply to your business.
And maybe it's almost like a journal type thing, because we've done lists like you're doing right now, that book you have that you post every morning. Maybe it's something where it's after you do the book, it has a list of prompts. Okay, what did you learn from this? What's your first thing that you learned? What's the one point, you could call it? And then what are 5 or 6 sub points? You know what I mean? So, I mean, I would like that personally. And it's more so bringing it into one platform, one place I can look at it. I like having softwares that here's the one area where I can view it. Just like Milanote. We have all our notes for this podcast in our one Milanote page, right? All the logos, everything, all our scripts. So if you could bring that into an app or some sort of website or something or another where it's, okay, here's all the books I read. Maybe you sort it by years, okay, businesses, whatever it might be. And you go in there and say, okay, extreme anchors. I forgot what that was, but I knew that was my one point. What does extreme anchors mean? And then I can read through it and say, okay, extreme anchors, this is how you actually implement it. You have to go in. If you want to get paid $1,000, say $5,000 to start, and then you have some more wiggle room to negotiate. So that's kind of the idea behind it. I don't know exactly how it would work, but I wish that service existed.
That's something that I started doing when I was reading these books, because when I read the 52 books in a year, I found that I was reading and then I was just moving on to the next one, and I wouldn't even take into consideration anything that I just read, and it would just be in one ear out the other. Yeah. And that's what I started doing with Notion, where I would read a book and then I would start taking notes. If I liked something that was really nice, I would put it in Notion, and then I would also put the page number so I could like quickly reference it back and like go and look back at it. But that's the thing, I've never actually went back to any of the books that I've read and looked at the notes that I took. So, yeah. But I think doing the notes, it at least helps remember a little bit more, because you're not just reading, you're stopping, reading again, putting in your notes, reading, and then you're moving on. So you're digesting it a couple times. So I think that's a good benefit.
Yeah. And maybe it's an AI thing where it's, this book is here. It's got the never split the difference. And then it knows all the points, and you pick, there's 10 points in the book. Talk about extreme anchors, talk about persuasive language, whatever it might be. And then you just click, which is your one point that you learned out of the book. That's getting a little bit ridiculous, but if AI knew all these books and I could be like, okay, extreme anchoring, that's what I learned from this book. And then it populates it for me. And then when I want to learn how to extreme anchor, I can go read those Spark notes. Oof, be a deadly game. It's getting there. It's getting there. But yeah, that's this week's business idea. Anything else you want to touch on with that?
Not really. I think that's good.
Yeah, that'll do. I'll think of a better one in 2 weeks. I doubt it, but
wasn't our best idea.
That's all right. Come on now. It's late. It's late in the year. It's late in the evening.
We got to start brainstorming. I've talked about this. Let's meet for 20 minutes once a week. Maybe 2023 we do business ideas that relate to both of our businesses instead of these random ones. Nah. You like these random ones? I do. I think it would be better if we spend a couple minutes brainstorming a little bit, because then it gets our creative juices flowing. Whereas like with this, I feel like it's just randomly thrown out there last minute.
But I don't know if this is helping us.
We're thinking.
Yeah, but why don't we think about things that are actually going to make our business better?
I mean, but why would people want to listen to that? Let's provide value. How are we going to provide value with these unique ideas that potentially don't exist, or they do exist and they could just start implementing it themselves in their specific area?
Because us talking about our business ideas might stem an idea for them.
I think us talking about these business ideas might spark an idea for them.
Yeah, I think it's both, but at least we're getting something out of it, because this one book conglomerate ain't doing shit for my business.
Got to stop being selfish. We got to start providing value for the person that's listening. Holy shit. They're spending their time with us, and that's their most valuable asset is their time, and they're spending it with us. So we got to make sure that we're giving them the most value they can possibly have.
But I think we're going to be able to provide more value with things we actually know about in our own businesses, rather than us coming up with random business ideas.
Isn't that what we do in the how's it going part, and then potentially throughout the middle part? This is separate.
I guess
this is separate. I feel like the intro and the middle is all about that stuff. So I think we're already touching on it.
We can keep it going, but
look at today. We talked about you creating courses in different categories. I think there's a business idea.
Yeah, but that's because we're talking about business ideas for 2023. If we're talking about customer service,
we're talking about how we plan on growing in 2023.
Yeah, so this whole episode though is
we've also talked about you getting employees. Can you hear him?
Semi, yeah.
I hope my mic can't pick it up that much. Let's just okay. Let's just end it here because he's getting a little crazy. He's a little hyper.
All right, we'll get back to this topic next week. But that was episode 18 of The Midnight Entrepreneur. If you have any questions you'd like us to cover or answer, you can email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. If you found value in this content or found this entertaining, share this with a friend or post it on your story. If you really enjoyed the show, we'd love a rating and a review on wherever you're listening. Talk to you guys next week for another episode of The Midnight Entrepreneur.